Dear listeners, this evening the gospel continues to amaze me like the other days because it brings more learning for me and more things that I have sometimes overlooked that come to the clarity with the explanation of the priest. I hope you guys have the time and the patience to hear it all the way to the end, because it did bring me a lot of light in this new gospel of today that helps me to see all my life in a different way, because the Lord has been beside me so close that I can touch him. But it's incredible because we might have heard this before, but today it really touched me because there's people around me that I never thought about that the Lord brings me to my attention. So I hope you guys enjoy what the priest had to say about this gospel, beautiful gospel of Jesus. And let's start in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Dear Lord, send us your Holy Spirit so that through this love we can see and learn. The gospel according to Mark 1:29-39. He cast out the devils and cured many who were suffering from disease. On leaving the synagogue, Jesus went with James and John straight to the house of Simon and Andrew. Now Simon's mother-in-law had gone to bed with fever, and they told him about her straight away. He went to her, he took her by the hand and helped her up. And the fever left her, and she began to wait on them. That evening, after sunset, they brought to him all who were sick and those who were possessed by devils. The whole town came crowding around the door, and he cured many who were suffering from diseases of one kind or another. He also cast out many devils. But he would not allow them to speak, because they knew who he was. In the morning, long before dawn, he got up and left the house. He went off to a lonely place and prayed there. Simon and his companions set out in search of him, and when they found him, they said, "Everyone is looking for you." He answered, "Let's go elsewhere, to the neighboring country towns, so that I can preach there too, because that is why I came." And he went all through Galilee, preaching in their synagogues and casting out devils. What an incredible word, brothers, today. Jesus healing, exorcising demons, curing sicknesses. This is his mission, to show that he is the Messiah. The Messiah was going to come, and he was going to show some signs that will make us able to recognize him. He was going to heal lepers, give sight to the blind, make the lame walk, resurrect the dead. We see Simon's mother-in-law with a fever, meaning that the body temperature is higher. We can say it symbolizes hell. This woman was living in hell. We can say she was possessed by a demon. And Christ says that they spoke to him about her. And I really like this, because praying is to talk to God about someone. We are all priests by our baptism. We all have the priestly ministry that we all have by baptism. We exercise it by prayer, because we can intercede before God for others. Do you talk to God about your son, the one that is doing drugs? Do you talk to God about your husband that is unfaithful to you? Do you talk to God about your father? Do you talk to God about your mother-in-law? No, so that she dies. No. Do you really talk to God about her, about the poor, of those in the hospital dying? Do you talk to God about the mothers that under pressure, brothers, so many circumstances, they commit abortions? Poor of them. Do you talk to God about them? Do you talk to God about the murders, of the rapists, of those committing adultery this moment, those who do evil? Do you talk to God of those who suffer, of those who take on evil in their body and their life and their history, the injustice of the others, the injustice of the society, the corruption, always corruption. It affects the poorest, always. And they suffer it. You might say, how does this affect me when a politician steals money? But that money could have been destined for helping. But I don't want to get into this. The injustice of wrong laws. Do you talk to God about this? That in the end, this is demonic. They have the fever, just like Simon's mother-in-law. And it uses a verb. If we go to the original Greek text from the Gospel of Mark, the same verb appears when it says that Jesus appears and grabs her by the hand. Lifts her up. The same verb to rise her, is the same verb used for the resurrection of Christ. Christ is lifting her up. What this world needs, brothers, is the resurrection of Christ. What you need, what I need, what your neighbor, what your son needs, what your mother-in-law, is the resurrection of Christ, that Christ resurrects us. May Christ show us his love more clearly, because he loves us so much and always, and he shows it to us, but we may see it so clearly, so that we can see and say that the fever went away. And then it says that the mother-in-law of Simon began to serve them. When one has encountered the love of God, one can only serve and love. That is why we can notice who has found the love of God, who can serve without expecting anything in return, without expecting to be paid, without expecting to be patted on the back. You do everything so well that you are a good person, that we like that a lot. That is true. That they tell us this. We do everything very well. But that they tell us that we have screwed up, or we have done something wrong that we shouldn't have. We don't like this at all, because the Lord wants you to be his servant. He started to serve his disciples. In Jesus, we are called to serve the Lord, to serve with the gifts that he has given us. Brothers, also that every day, in the everyday things in Jesus. And where is Jesus so that we can serve him? The Lord is in your house. He went to visit you, just like he visited the mother of Simon, the mother-in-law. And he is with you. Jesus eats with you. You serve her. Jesus sleeps with you. She is your wife. Serve her. If we would know that Jesus is right beside you, how beautiful your marriage would be. How well would my ministry be if I knew that all of you are Jesus for me, and that I am called to serve you, to give my life for you, to wear myself out for you. Courage, brothers. May the Lord grant us to see Christ at our side, and in that we may be able to also pray, to speak to Jesus about others, to not speak to him about yourself. Talk to them about others. Talk to him about others. A true Christian never asks something for himself. He asks nothing for himself. He asks for the others. So it be, brothers.